Thank you. Thank you for coming here and putting yourself through that. I want to make it clear that it was at no point just me. I've had an amazing team alongside me for the last 7 years that we've been working on this, including a couple who really should be up there in the primary investigators' credit and refuse to be. And it's been a pretty intense, crazy 7 years. I've had my home raided, I've been arrested, I've faced court, I've had my car trashed, I've been hunted. But it's here now, it's out, it's getting out into the world, and we're finally able to tell these stories that we've had to hold on to for so long. And I'm excited now to see what we can do with this, use it as a tool to create real change. I think that's all I want to say. Oh, come to the march. I should say that.
When will direct action in the name of animal liberation be normalized in this movement?
Now, right now. I mean, there's no time like now. We need to get out there and make more things happen every day. There's more and more vigils, there's more and more protests, there's more bigger marches.
I mean more sort of lock-ons, disruptions, animal saves and rescues of that nature.
Even that, I'm seeing that way more than 2-3 years ago. It is becoming so much more common. Many more people are doing it, getting involved with it, and I think it's going to pick up. I think this is the year for it. Don't be afraid. Let's make it happen.
Anyone else want to come down? Okay, I have some. I don't know from Instagram, but I will ask away. Where do you go from here? What will your next project be? You haven't been busy enough. And will you be collaborating with your friends in the US?
We want to spend some solid time getting this film out there. I think the need to go and investigate and gather footage, it's becoming less. We're filling in these gaps. We've got a pretty comprehensive picture now of what these industries are and what they're doing. We kind of know all that we need to know. I think what we need to focus on now is getting it seen. So we're going to spend our time promoting this film and trying to get it seen by as many people as possible. I don't have any plans for any future films of this kind at this stage, at least not for a while. But we'd love to continue collaborating with Sean Monson in the US, definitely, who created Earthlings, and he's a co-producer on Dominion.
Okay, I've got a question. Lissy and James, because I think we need to give Chris a bit of a break of being under the microscope. There's lots of people here who are incredibly inspired by what you all do. How would you see us getting something like this out to the masses? So we have friends, we have people, how do we encourage them? We're predominantly, I think, all vegans here. How do we encourage non-vegans to watch this?
That's the $1 million question, man. I don't know. I mean, the plan is to get it on Netflix, right? I hopefully get it on Netflix. That would be, I couldn't think of probably a better place to put it. I hope that a lot of media get onto this and it creates a lot of attention and interest so that when it starts being talked about on something like The Project, hopefully, at least, that our friends and family might be interested in watching it, and it might be something that we can encourage them to do. The way I would usually encourage is to really kind of plead with them to watch it, you know? Please watch this. You are good people. You're my friends, you're my family. I know you're good in all the ways, except for this. And even if you watch it and don't change, then that's your choice. I'm not saying you have to watch it and change, but please watch it and at least see what's going on in our backyard, what we're paying for, what we're paying to happen. And also I'd encourage it because then you'll understand me better. You know, if it's someone close to you, that can be a way to sort of try to encourage them to watch it as well. You'll understand me better if you watch it, and I think that would help us a lot in our friendship or our whatever relationship we have, because I feel like you don't really understand me and I'm just asking for a couple of hours of your time to do that. Would you please do that? Like, you kind of have to plead because this isn't a movie that people really want to see. You know, I think everyone should watch it, including vegans, but if anyone could have a free pass not to watch it, it should be vegans, and yet we're the ones here bearing witness yet again to it, even though really we don't need to, like the people who are still paying for that to happen. So how do we get it there? I don't know, just trying to get it in the media and talking to big influencers and maybe trying to reach famous people, and just like with What the Health, when a few famous people watched What the Health and they went vegan because of it, a lot of people heard about it, and hopefully we can do the same with Dominion. I think Dominion's the most powerful movie I've ever seen in my life, and I'm sure if we can start somehow figuring out how to get big influencers to watch it and get it on the media, then I'm sure we're going to create the change that it deserves, that this world deserves. And you know, there's people who specialize in that type of job, where that's their job to make that happen. So I think we need to round them up and get them all on the job, and hopefully that's what will happen.
G'day, I'm Jonathan. I'm a primary school teacher. I teach children of year 4 and 5, and I've got friends and colleagues who teach in year 2 and 3, and I'm aware that they teach units of work, the title of one being From Farm to Table, where they teach children about where their food comes from. They take them to dairies to see milking and stuff, and they see the cute side of it, the small animals and all that sort of thing. Now, we can't go traumatising primary school children with that, but I do wonder if we can produce a version of that that tells the truth to small children, to primary school age children, that actually, you won't get it into primary schools without it actually fitting the curriculum. Is anyone going to take up the challenge to do that?
Next project, Chris. You wondered what you were going to do, didn't you?
I'll just say something quickly and then I'll pass it on. Kids are the future. They get it, they're compassionate, they're not so brainwashed like we all were and so many people still are. And if you can get them thinking about this so young, it's going to be so much easier to keep them on the path and, you know, to be passionate about this and become activists as they grow up. So I think that's such an incredible idea. If we could get kids to watch a PG version of this, I think that would be incredible. So yeah, get onto it, Chris.
It's a great idea. Right now I don't feel like it's for me. I can't water down any of this. I'm unable to do it. I feel like it's such an injustice to them by trying to make anything less graphic, anything less raw than what it is. It's just the raw truth. That's what it is. And right now, where I am, I can't do anything less than that. So maybe it's not the project for me, but it's a great idea.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you so much. There's no words that can really, I think you could hear the reaction from the people behind you, but I guess my question is probably for Chris and also maybe for you, for James and Lissy as well. How do you watch that innate cruelty and that repugnant behaviour and not become angry, bitter, hating? How do we turn away from that and channel that energy? Because I know there's a lot of people in here tonight, probably like me, feeling almost violated. It's so disgusting, the behaviour, and the cruelty of the workers is what struck me probably the most. The laughter, the stuff that I see in footage but have never quite seen it in that way? How do you do that and stay sane?
Well, I think there are two types of people who work at slaughterhouses. There are the psychopaths, and then there are just normal people who have to become desensitized to what they're doing in order to continue doing it. And it's the same for us looking through this footage. We have to become desensitized. We have to not view them for who they are. We just have to view it as, oh yeah, that's good footage, oh, that's particularly graphic, yes, let's use that. You have to be able to cut yourself off. And it's horrible. It's really sad that we have to do that. And it bleeds through into other areas of your life and just makes you less emotional overall. But that's how we do it.
I think it just makes you become an activist, basically. You just don't sit around thinking I'm not going to play a part in it anymore. You think I'm going to play a part in stopping it as well.
Whoa. Really good question. I felt especially angry after this time. Last time I was just like broken and sad. And I felt especially angry this time. But it's always important to remember that you did this, you did that, that was your fault as well before. Or the people who are here tonight who, aren't vegan already. Like, that's what I used to contribute to. Most people don't know that. Most people don't think about that. Or they think that animals don't matter and fish don't feel pain and all these kinds of things. That dairy, they need to be milked and eggs get laid anyway. And, meat, animals used for meat, they're free range and grass fed and they're actually really happy and they get tickled to death or something. Do people actually think, that it's not bad, or if it is bad, that it's necessary? And basically what I'm trying to say is that most people just don't know what they're doing. They just, forgive them for they know not what they do. They really don't. I didn't. If I did, I would have changed sooner. There's a lot of things that I didn't understand. There's a lot of lies I believed that stopped me from doing the right thing. And that is how this is set up. It's not just about all the cruelty, it's about all the deception. There's so much deception coming out from these very powerful industries, so much propaganda, and it starts in school when they're little, and we humans, our species, are victims of that. We are victims of brainwashing and conditioning. Most people aren't bad, sadistic psychopaths, and the ones in there, like Chris said, they also have to desensitize. I spoke to a vegan who went undercover in a slaughterhouse. At first, every animal he killed, he felt so sorry. Of course, every animal he said sorry to. After about a week, he was already starting to feel desensitized. That's just what happens when you are constantly killing for a living. So it's for the vast majority of people out there, it's more of an ignorance thing than you are a sadistic psychopath thing. And that's why I've got so much hope, and we fight as if a vegan world is possible, because I think it is. Because the tables can turn from this 2% vegan world, 98% animal exploiters, to 98% vegans, because everyone's against animal cruelty, and 2% of those people who will just never change because they're wired up differently. And I think just remembering that, and remembering that people are innately good, helps me a lot, and it gives me the energy to continue saying the same thing over and over and over again.
You mentioned deception. There's thousands of people in Australia who donate to the RSPCA because they love animals. That's showing RSPCA approved products. How can the RSPCA get away with that? How are they getting away with it?
Well, basically the RSPCA condones and allows things that are legal usually. So a lot of that is the case with the maceration of the chicks and gas chambers is legal. So that's why that's got their tick. And they follow the laws, and laws for farmed animals are far different to laws for companion animals. So their treatment of companion animals obviously is worlds apart from that, and that's how it can be seen such a stark difference between farm animals and companion animals in how they care for them.
Yeah, the RSPCA is not an independent body. They are a farming organisation by farmers for farmers. What else do you expect?
Hi. I was just wondering, because basically watching and hearing this makes me want to murder people. Is there any way we'd be able to have access to like a transcript? Because I want to know all the facts, but I just don't want to hear it again.
Yeah, definitely at some point. Can't say exactly when yet. Probably next month we'll make the transcript available. Once the film's available online, the transcript will be as well, and also just a page listing all the facts stated and all the references for it. It will be available. Just haven't got around to it yet, basically.
That's awesome, thank you. I was just going to ask too, so getting the footage is obviously mostly illegal. All the people that have...
No comment, officer.
No comment. They basically, like the people that are doing the actual cruelty in the videos, nothing's going to happen to them.
We've tried. We've sent the worst things we've ever seen. We've sent to the authorities. It falls on deaf ears, and in some cases, we get charged.
Thank you.
It always feels really hard to even ask this, and I'm sure most of the people in the room understand that this is all standard practice. But what would you say to people? Because I know one of the counters is going to be that, you know, it's not really that bad. You've cherry-picked footage, you've made it look worse than it is. What would you say in response to those sort of questions?
I could say I could make 10 different Dominions from all the footage that we have, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of the same thing, and I've had to choose which particular animal suffering in the exact same way that I want to tell their story. And it's the reason that it's so long. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes, because for every issue that comes up I want to have several examples to show this isn't just a one-off. This is the standard. And for pretty much every one of those issues I could have had many, many more. So Lucent was almost 2 hours, and that was just focusing on pigs, and in this I've condensed it down to 20 minutes. So for every section covered in that film, it could be a documentary in its own right.
For some of the investigations, they can be weeks long, but often they're only sometimes a day or two, and so the worst that we see is the worst of 2 days, and obviously the worst that ever happens is not going to probably happen in those exact 2 days. So what we see as the worst is really just what's happening on any other day, and the worst that has ever happened probably won't ever be recorded.
They're slaughterhouses, right? Animals go in alive and they come out chopped up into pieces every single time. Whatever happens in between, whether they felt it or saw it coming or not, an individual was murdered. An individual had their life taken from them against their will. And more often than not, they were terrified and screamed for their life, or fought for it, or thrashed in pain. But even if they didn't, the act of murder is wrong, whether they knew it was coming or they felt it or not. Because having life is something that we all want to keep. And to take that from somebody, whether they're a human somebody or another species somebody, is inherently cruel. One of the most cruel things that you could ever possibly do, which is why if I kill a human in their sleep without them feeling it, I'm still going to jail for murder for hopefully a long, long time. Because it's not just about how much they suffered before they were murdered, it is the act of robbing someone's life against their will that is inherently immoral and cruel.
Okay, so time for one more question.
Thanks, guys. Obviously, awareness is that first step to behaviour change and changing the way people do things. But if we have, how do we continue to tackle this entire system, which is rigged around disconnecting us from who we are at our core, which enables us to do what we do to animals on this planet? Where do we focus our efforts? And I feel like it needs to be not just creating awareness, because it's the laws in place, it's the nutritional information, it's all these industries which are evolving around disconnection and suppression of information. So how do we scale this up? How do we broaden our approach to, tackle the system?
Join the Animal Justice Party.
I've already been chatting to it, yeah.
We're already talking. Yeah.
How do we do it? Man, there's so many ways, and we should be using every method, every single method. Documentaries, videos online, sharing on social media, that alone can reach. Some of my videos have reached 13 million people, 10 million people, 8 million people. Just me talking about dairy, for example. If you're not that person, then share someone else's work who's doing it, or get someone to watch this documentary, for example. So from the bottom up, and then from the top down, like Animal Justice Party, something like that. Civil disobedience, I think, needs to happen. It's worked in other social justice movements. It's not all we do, but it's just another method. Basically, there's a lot of paths up a mountain, and we should have an army on every single one of them, every single way. So that means do what you think you'll be best at, and whatever it is, make sure it's promoting veganism, or if it's not directly promoting veganism, it is moving the world towards a vegan world, and then support everything else that is doing that in whatever way you can, whether it's money or with your presence or with sharing it online or with just supporting people in whatever way. And I guess that's a vague answer, but I think it's because there's so many ways to do it, and they all also seem like not enough. So I don't know. I'm just doing what I know in my own personal way, using my own skills that I've developed. And Lissy and Chris, I think, are doing the same thing, using the skills that they've developed and pointing it in this direction. I think if everybody just did that and really made this a priority, then hopefully we see more movement in the right direction, infiltrating the schools and just everything. I don't know, man. I wish I did. I wish I had a really good answer for that.
Hello everyone. I'm just going to take a minute of your time to tell you about an incentive that Aussie Farms launched last week. Personally, I feel that we're closer than ever to a vegan world, and just a little bit more work and we can hopefully push the population over the edge. Dominion, the film, is just the beginning. I think that some of the stuff Dominion Movement has planned in the future is extremely exciting, but we need a little bit of help from you guys to help us get there. If you want to join us, we have a program called the Dominion Movement Action Team, and for a small monthly donation you can join us and help us expose animal cruelty around the world, get that imagery out there, and also bring activists together to try and have a greater effect. Depending on how much you donate, you can get certain perks, such as this t-shirt. There's a hoodie and a limited edition silver necklace. And every single Dominion Movement Action Team member will get discount to over 100 vegan businesses across Australia. A lot of those are online. You may have got a little flyer with a lot of the details on it when you first came in. I think we needed it to get in the room. If you want to know any more, ask any questions, come and see me or someone with this t-shirt on. There's a lot of people wearing them now, so. But come over to the stall that says Take Action Now and ask any questions. Join us if you want, or you can go online to the join.dominionmovement.com. You've got it all on your flyer. Just wanted to say that. Thanks, guys.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who helped put this event on tonight, and everyone for coming as well. Animal Liberation in Queensland and Farm Animal Rescue. Thank you to everyone involved in those organisations, Jay, Carol, Brad, Beck. There's many people who I am forgetting, and I'm very sorry. But thank you very much for helping us screen this tonight.